But the Flyers are going to skate out of Columbus with a 4-2 win. A couple of empty net goals proving to be the difference in this one, as the Columbus Blue Jackets got one late to get back within a goal, but the Flyers get another empty netter, and it looks comfortable on paper. It was a tight game, but it was a game that was, I thought, very well played. Brian Smith with us, Jason Martinez on the postgame show, and Brian, I thought it was a game that had good intensity, had pretty decent execution, had some breakdowns, sure. Coaches haven't gotten their teams in total lockdown mode yet, but pretty darn entertaining hockey game for game 1 of 82.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And when you look at the overall body of numbers in this game, you see a lot of things that are encouraging. You see the Flyers go on the road and have a 36 shot game with everybody contributing at least one shot on goal in this contest. All 18 skaters had at least one shot on goal.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And, they had another, 55 shot attempts that didn't make it to the net, or 35, excuse me. That'd be a lot. 35 that didn't make it to the net. So, you're looking at, a 70 shot attempt night in your first game. So that's a good start in the grand scheme of things. Looking at some of the other underlying stories that we were wondering about, the return of Cam Atkinson and Sean Couturier goes just fine. And the defense situation, when Ivan Provorov coming off the Flyers back line, who's going to step up and take it? Well, Travis Sanheim plays 26-17 in this game. So, that's a good step, good first step to perhaps that role for him. So, a lot of good things out of this contest for the Flyers, and, a really good start for them.
It really was. I mean, every player, as you mentioned, gets a shot on goal, and your goalie gets an apple.
Yeah.
Carter Hart.
Goalie assist
on the rim. Yeah. He ends up with an assist on the Atkinson goal.
Yeah.
I love that.
I heard him talking to the TV guys about that in his post-game interview over there. Said he went back there and just, he had some guys bearing down on him, so he just decided to play off the glass as hard as he could, and it worked out. It got through 3 Blue Jackets, I think, to get out there. So we'll color that a little bit of a fortunate bounce, but it went where it needed to go, so they'll take it.
But we've talked about his puck handling, right? Making a decision, assessing the situation, make a quick decision, and when in doubt, go high glass. He does there, and he gets rewarded. He's a point per game player so far this season, Brian, is Carter Hart.
On 82-point pace, right?
Yeah.
No, and again, I might be reading too much into it. I'm not a goalie, but I especially like seeing that after the mishap that happened in the preseason, where that puck was spinning 180 RPM and hits the boards and gets in his feet, and he ends up losing it. It's in the back of his net. Obviously, a short memory there, because he's right back out making that next play. So that's great to see.
Yeah, Hart, all said and done, I thought he was really sharp in the game. He saw 33, he stopped 31. That's a .939 save percentage in the game. Ends up with an assist as well, gives up just the 2 goals. I mean, the last one there, failed zone exit for the Flyers, and boy, it ends up on the tape of a guy that
the wrong guy.
That's he's one of the top 3 or 4 shooters in the NHL right now. It's him, it's Matthews, it's Ovechkin. It could be Bedard, maybe even in that mix, the way he shoots the puck.
And I chalk that up to, how much time have the Flyers spent working on a 6-on-5 situation so far? Probably none. I mean, you could tell that it just was a little bit off kilter. Sealer was there, but he had backed off to the top of the crease because, he didn't necessarily recognize that Line A was in a dangerous spot, and that's that's going to come. That's not a situation to really get all bent out of shape about.
Let's get to the highlights. Let's get to the BetRivers.com highlight reel. Let's start in the first period, because the Flyers opened the scoring in this game a real good play by Igor Zamula to start it. A little fortuitous that Werenski lost his footing and fell down and ended up on a 2-0. But 3:33 into the game, Flyers open it up when Joel Farabee played all 82 last year. Didn't have the kind of year from a number standpoint. I think 13 goals on the season. but he gets his first of the year here at 3:33 of the first. Yeah, just good decisive puck movement there with Sean Couturier. First, Zamula, though, Brian, he was a guy coming into the season we're worrying about, into camp because he's coming off a surgery. And you're going, okay, what's Zamula going to be? He's not waiver exempt, so you'd have to clear him through waivers if you send him down. He gets the start, and in game number 1, makes the team, and boom, makes a good play at the blue line and gets it going the other way post haste.
For me, it's both Zamula and Brink in that regard, because these are two guys, if you recall, that were highly regarded, maybe 3 years ago, and then both of them go through injury situations, and people kind of forgot about them. Well, you got to remember that Igor Zamula was a guy that the Flyers thought so highly of back in 2020 that they took him to the bubble when they were limited on the number of players they could take at all. They took him to the bubble just so he could be around the team and start his growth, if you will. And so now you're probably maybe starting. I'm not going to make too much out of one play, but what we've seen from him in the preseason, and then there in this game, you might be starting to see the kind of player the Flyers thought he would turn into. So definitely a great start for him, and the way the roster shook out here at the deadline when they had to trim it down to 23 players, him being there is that's going to be a place you look that okay, are we playing the kids at all levels? You don't want to put kids on the fourth line just to get them in the game. You want them playing where it's going to benefit them. But down on defense, yeah, you just get the defenders in there whenever you can, and so it's a good start for him.
Yeah, good start, and good start for Farabee with the result of the goal. Good start for Couturier with the assist, the primary. Flyers go up 1-0. 8:24 of the first period. Columbus gets on the board when Jake Bean is able to beat Carter Hart. Kind of a broken play here where Flyers in the midst of a change, and they kind of flood one side. He ends up putting it in by Hart, assisted by Adam Fantilli, his first NHL point, and Kirill Marchenko. And we've got a 1-1 game, but the Flyers answer in the first period. And how about a guy who led the team in scoring last year despite only playing, 60 games? 12:43 the first. Travis Konechny, his first of the season. What a beauty of a shot that was on the off wing, coming across his body, and is able to go back to the area he was just at and put that puck in past Merzlikins off the bar. Scott Lawton with the assist. Flyers go up 2-1, and that's how they ended the first. That's a good way to answer the goal less than 5 minutes later and regain the lead and be able to take that into the room.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big momentum thing, right? Not just a good play, but a good play at a good time in the game. And we've talked about that a lot. The goals not just being goals, but when do they happen? The goals that happen right after, the Flyers are going through that stretch where every time they'd score, they get scored on again within 2 minutes or something like that, right?
17 times 2 years ago.
So, the fact they're able to reverse that here, that kind of makes that goal even bigger in the grand scheme of things. But just the way that I really again like Lawton's decision making there. The fact that he's he's about to be just kind of ridden out into the corner, and he's able to have the presence of mind to, okay, I'm going to stop, go back this way, and he happened to just completely fool a guy that's got more than 500 NHL games under his belt. So there you have it.
Brad, the thing is too, after the Jake Bean scored to tie the game, John Tortorella went right to that fourth line, and they went out there on that next shift, and they played their shift inside the Columbus zone.
The whole thing.
They did. Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, getting scored on a couple of years ago, right after they scored, like we talk about all the time, momentum, you want to get it, keep it as long as you can. Well, Columbus got it with the goal, but they didn't get to feed on it because that fourth line went out on the next shift and just dictated the terms territorially and physically. And that's a big spot. That's a big shift in the game, situational shift. So 2-1 after one period of play. Head to the second period. Flyers outshoot Columbus significantly in the period, but no goal scored. Really tightened up in that period, although the Flyers did get a lot more good opportunities around Elvis Merzlikins and his goal crease, but they come away with nothing. Columbus comes away with nothing. So we go into the third period with this simple philosophy of win the period, win a game, right? It's a one-goal game. You're up. Cam Atkinson eventually at 18:31. We're still 2-1 at this point at 18:31 when Merzlikins is pulled. And Cam Atkinson here in his return to Columbus after missing last season gets his first of the season. Boy, it's an empty net goal, Bri, but that goal meant something. Yeah. That goal meant more than your average empty netter. Absolutely. Not to mention, the assist from Carter Hart, but the fact that Cam Atkinson, there's a lot of elements. Puck bounces over Ivan Provorov's stick, right? And he goes in and puts it in. Provorov can't catch him. That is one element. Getting the first goal in your first game back when maybe you were having doubts at points in your recovery and trying to figure out what was going on with that injury. If he'd ever do that again, and he does it back in Columbus where, as he said in his post-game interview, he had tons of family and friends. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what he's been through, he came here to Philadelphia in a situation where he I don't think he ever thought he was going to be leaving Columbus, and then he plays the year here, comes back out year number 2. And again, this shoulder thing comes out of nowhere that he had to deal with, and it kept him out the entire season. So that first game to be back in Columbus, I think, means a lot to him, and to get that goal, obviously, is he's getting in a special place, but he's also getting under special circumstances because now he definitely is back, and he has said that his family will likely make their home in Columbus when they're done. So it certainly is still a big part of their life, and I'm sure he had a lot of people there. I saw some seriously retro Cam Atkinson sweaters in the stands hanging around the Flyer bench there at the end of the game. So definitely a big night for him.
Yeah, you can't help but feel happy for him. So he gets a goal. Sean Couturier's got an assist. So both guys that missed all of last year end up on the score sheet. Patrick Laine, with the goaltender pulled once again, at 19-16, picks up that loose puck. We talked about it, bar down. He beats Carter Hart. Unbelievable shot. But then at 1959.9, you can't get any closer to the very end with 0.01, 100th left on the clock. It is Travis Konechny, his second goal of the game. And Konechny's second of the game. When I go back, and let me turn the page here on my little notebook to my bold predictions, I said that TK would be a point per game player again this year. He's on pace for 164 points. That Cam York would lead the team in average time on ice. That one's not holding up good because Travis Sanheim led the team in average time on ice in this game, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, York had 22-31, Sanheim 26-17. So I'm a little off on that one. I said that Farabee would have 25 plus goals. He's on pace. I said the power play would click it over 19%, but no special teams goals on either side in this game.
Yeah.
So that's something that hasn't been worked on a whole lot yet, but PK was there.
And I think too, the Sanheim difference, him to York is you find a lot of that in the shorthanded situations. Travis played 324 shorthanded, and Yorkie with 57 seconds. He did get a good 3 minutes or so more even strength too. But I think it's a role York is going to grow into. Travis should already be there, and he is. That's in, and I guess that's the other thing I'll just segue right into since I'm talking and I'm looking at the sheet. We're now starting to see the long-term vision of choosing Cam York over Cole Caulfield back in that 2019 draft. That was at the time people were looking at it and just throwing up their hands and stuff like that. But it was never Cam York greater than Cole Caulfield necessarily. It was Cam York plus Bobby Brink greater than Cole Caulfield, and now we finally have them on the ice together. And again, while Brink was didn't play a ton 13-16 and is easing into it, I think he's starting to show the signs of that being the right move for the Flyers in the long term.
Yep, it's two positions for one,
right?
And Brink overall in the game I thought was relatively quiet. He made some plays here and there. He's playing on that top line, but there was nothing glaring mistake wise either.
No.
So that's a good. He ended up with being a +1, 2 shots on goal, 2 block shots in the game. He played 13 minutes and 16 seconds. By the way, Couturier in his return plays 20 minutes and 39 seconds. 3 of it's on the power play, 2 of it's on the PK. And he goes 10 for 10 on draws, so 50% there. But he's a +3 in the game as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a Sean Couturier stat line if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, absolutely, and considerable time in all situations. 15 and a half of that at even strength, but 2 minutes on the penalty kill and 3:06 in the power play. So again, the guy that can contribute anywhere, anytime on the ice, does seem to be back at this point.
Yeah, it's good allocation of his minutes and a good start to the season for the Flyers. Let's take our first break, and we'll come back with more here on the post-game show. It's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez. Flyers get a 4-2 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets to open the season. We're back with more after this on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Phillies up 3-1. Castellanos. Back to back. Yeah. Crazy. Bullpen's got to get it done now. Well, I loved Couturier's game tonight. Overrated. Tell them or do. All right.
Sports audio, but I don't have any way to figure this
out. All right. We're back live. It is the post-game show. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez. Flyers open up the season in fine fashion. Not only a win, a road win, and a division win. It's the trifecta, if you will. 4-2 over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Flyers goals coming off the sticks of Joel Farabee, Travis Konechny, who had 2, including an empty netter, and Cam Atkinson as well. Both Cam Atkinson and Sean Couturier record a point on their returns to the lineup tonight. Flyers outshoot Columbus 37-33 in the game. And they go perfect on the PK tonight as well. They had 5 minor penalties. There's some 4-on-4 in the game. But the Flyers seem to handle all situations pretty well. And I thought it was a very mature performance tonight for a team with a lot of young pieces, Brian. I think a big part of that is some of the maturity that came back into the lineup with Couturier and Atkinson, and also guys like Garnet Hathaway and Mark Stahl.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't underestimate what guys like that bring to a locker room and everything that they bring to the situations off the ice. Obviously, having the opportunity to add Sean, I mean, just imagine if you were another team and you added Sean Couturier and Cam Atkinson in the offseason. I mean, how much better is that going to make you right off the hop? But at the same time, it's the veteran leadership that they bring and them being able to help some of these younger guys along. And not only that, but the fact that they're out there playing with a Bobby Brink is huge. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from anybody, but we all know that Wade Allison is not Cam Atkinson, and so you put Brink out there with Atkinson and Couturier. It's different than if you had to put him out there with Allison and Couturier. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter, just in terms of the way that or the experience that Atkinson has over a younger player that you might end up pairing Brink with or something like that. So that's a big part of it, is that they are able to just go out there. These younger guys can go out there and play with the veterans on the ice and learn from them there, and then also work with them off the ice and learn from them in those settings.
Yeah, I think we probably see Tyson Forster on Saturday. I don't know if he comes in for Brink, but maybe we see Tyson Forster coming up Saturday against Ottawa. I think.
I mean, they're not going to keep him up here to not play. So they're definitely going to get him out there as much as they can. And the front office has said it. If we can't find them the minutes here, we'll get them playing in Lehigh Valley. Yeah,
no doubt about it. Any final thoughts you want to add? Other than
I just go Phillies. They're 3-1, I think, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's again, I think it's a good start. You're not going to perhaps get too excited right off the hop. I mean, it is the Blue Jackets. We saw them last year, what they went through. 536, I think, was the number man games lost. So they had guys coming back as well, and they have a lot of guys that are trying to learn how to play with each other again. And then they had all the garbage that went on in the preseason with Mike Babcock. So this has been a difficult, probably, preseason for them. So, but it's definitely encouraging. There's a lot of things in this game that we liked. And again, I think there's going to be a lot of entertaining hockey coming down the pike if all these games look like this, especially when you consider some of the things we saw from that fourth line tonight. I mean, that's going to be a fun line to watch. So it's a great start, and see if they can't continue it in Ottawa on Saturday against another old buddy in Claude Giroux. Yep. 2 games in a row here with longtime Flyers on the other side.
Yeah, so we'll see Ottawa Saturday. That is a 1:00 game. So we will be on 93.3 WMMR and the Flyers Broadcast Network coming up at 1:00 on Saturday for Flyers Ottawa. Then they'll return home for their first home game of the year. That'll be against the Vancouver Canucks on Tuesday. And then we'll see Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, who opened up their season with a loss, pretty bad loss too. So we'll see McDavid, Draisaitl, and the Oilers coming up on Thursday. So let's wrap things up from there. Let's thank a few people before we get out of here. Let's start with our in-studio engineer. How about Mike Vito doing a real nice job tonight? We had an extra voice on the pregame show with Chris Tarian, and that's not easy on the engineer and the producers back at the station. So great job by Mike. Haley Taylor-Simon was on the highlights tonight, I believe. Is that correct, Mike? I got it right because I saw her email. And for Tim Saunders, Todd Fedoruk, Brian Smith, I'm Jason Martinez. You've been listening to Philadelphia Flyers regular season hockey, a 4-2 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Have a great night, everybody.